Now from Color 10, breaking news.
We begin with breaking news in Stone County. We are showing you video of the scene when a boat capsized, a Ride the Ducks boat capsized on Table Rock Lake earlier this evening.
This video was shot by the family member of a Color 10 employee who just happened to be on a tour tonight over on the showboat Branson Belle. We should mention the person you saw there on the gurney was breathing there at the scene, and you see people being attended to there by the crews that were trying to rescue people who were affected by this. We know 31 people were on board. There are 8 people confirmed dead tonight. Good evening. We're glad to have you joining us, and thank you for staying with us as we try to get the details and make sense of this horrific tragedy that's unfolding on Table Rock Lake in the Ozarks tonight.
Still very much unfolding at this 10 o'clock hour as well. Our Crystal Blair has been live on the scene this evening, and she joins us now with an update.
Well, Heather and David, we just heard from Stone County Sheriff Doug Rader, and he did confirm that 8 people are dead. 31 were on that Ride the Ducks boat, and he did say this time that he believes that it was because of the high winds that boat capsized. 7 people have been injured. We don't know the extent of those injuries. We do know that 3 of them were under the age of 18, and they were taken to Cox Branson Hospital. Now, this word is for family members who want to know where their loved ones are. They have opened the Branson City Hall. This next person that you're going to see was actually on the showboat Branson Belle. His name is, the last name is Bear. I do know that. Can't remember the first name, but he witnessed people being pulled from the boat. This is what he had to say.
For me, it was kind of like a fight or flight thing. So I immediately wanted to go and help and fight because I am a pre-med student and I want to do that later in my life. So I'm like, we need to do something to try to save her. So I went down there and I tried to get everyone, and then other people were like, okay, let's go. And we got her up there. But it's just another experience. It's out of this world. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just, you see it.
Now, we do know from Sheriff Rader that some of those on the boat were children. He would not confirm if any of those children are among the deceased, but we also know that Ride the Ducks boat is still in Table Rock Lake, capsized. It has sunk, and the Western Taney County dive teams, I should say, are still searching for people. So right now, we don't know if it's recovery or rescue.
And in fact, Crystal, stay with us. We're going to keep you around and maybe check back later in the show. We were just talking before about the fact that Western Taney County dive teams are out there in that water, and we don't know how long they're going to be able to stay out there tonight. Obviously, the water's going to get dark anyway at a certain point down there, but you've got nightfall now, and so we're not sure how late they're going to be out there
and
tonight.
Want to mention again that at least 8 people are dead, 7 injured, and taken to area hospitals, and that's where we want to go next as well, to Cox Branson. Our Bria Douglas is live on the scene for us right now in that area.
And several folks went there tonight for treatment, right, Bria?
That's right, David and Heather. I'm standing outside of the hospital right now, where I'm joined by communications coordinator Caitlin McConnell. Caitlin, what can you tell us about the patients who are being treated here tonight?
Well, the information is kind of coming in gradually, but right now we know that there are 7 patients who are being treated right here in the emergency department. We don't know the conditions exactly in all of them, but we do know that 2 of them are in critical condition, and it's kind of a mix of adults and children under 18.
And do we know if all of the victims are related, or are these separate cases?
Honestly, I cannot comment on that at this time, just simply because I don't know. Information is kind of coming into us gradually on that.
And you said that there are 2 in critical condition. Is that new information? Because last we heard there were minor injuries involved.
That is an update I just heard. I don't know if those are patients who've just come in or if that was an updated status.
And do we know ages or genders or anything like that?
We know that there are a few of them that are under 18, but as far as the actual breakdown, I don't have that information right now.
And how are they emotionally doing? Does staff know yet?
That's something that I don't have a report for you about that. I'm sure that today was a very traumatic experience for everyone involved, and I am confident that our staff are really working with these patients to make them feel as comfortable as they possibly can right now.
And do you know if any of the patients who are being treated will be released tonight, or when any of them will be released?
That is unclear. It will depend on their individual situation.
And what's next for these patients?
I guess it really depends on the condition that they end up being diagnosed with in the end. If there is care that's warranted, we can transfer them certainly to Springfield, to Cox South, or treat them here, whatever is most appropriate for that each individual case.
All right, David and Heather, that was Caitlin McConnell with Cox Health Hospital. As you heard, 7 people are being treated here. 2 of them are in critical condition. As we learn more information about the condition of the patients here, we will bring you the latest. For now, live in Branson, Bria Douglas, Color 10 News, Ozarks First.
All right, Bria, stay where you are because we may check back with you again later in this broadcast. So again, the headline tonight, the Ride the Ducks boat capsized, 8 people dead. You heard right there, 7 being treated right now. We're still waiting for word on about the other 16 people out of the 31 confirmed on board that tour boat tonight.
Also want to mention, Sheriff Doug Rader also said that a Stone County Sheriff's deputy was on the boat when this happened and was helping rescue people and getting people to safety.
Yeah.
We know that some people did make it out okay and they are safe. Again, the 16 still unaccounted for do include some of those people, so we're still working to get that information too. But
and the sheriff, in fact, also saying that we should mention that the sheriff deputy who was on board was there providing some security.
Yes.
They do that sometimes as a routine thing. Nothing special tonight. They do that when they're off duty, provide security for other agencies. We talked about the fact that the sheriff has said in his latest press conference tonight that the boat likely capsized because of the weather. We've brought Jamie in a couple of times. We're going to do that once again right now because we want you to talk us through what was going on down there about 7 o'clock tonight in that general vicinity of Table Rock Lake.
Well, at the time that this occurred, there was a line of severe storms that was moving across that area, and this is some great video. And look at the wave action that's being generated by these winds. It may be tough to see how strong those winds were, but you can see some of the whitecaps generated by winds that were probably 55 to 65 miles per hour blowing across that area. We experienced this strong wind here in Springfield. Well, when it got down to the lake, it generated some very, very rough conditions on that water. And you can see as we pan over, I believe we're going to be able to see a boat there just rocking. And I believe probably what happened was as the winds generated those waves, this boat probably began to rock, and at some point it began to take on some water, and then once it began to get weighted down by not only the number of people on the boat, but also the water, that's probably when it began to sink.
all right,
That's
Jamie,
impressive. I mean, when you see that water moving like that, you know.
puts it into perspective.
Well, you go out on the lake,
strong.
and you go out on the lake a lot of times. It's just smooth as glass, or not bad at all. I mean, if there's some wind, there's usually some light wave action. But I mean, that was pretty rough, especially that first piece of video that we showed you. I mean, you could actually see some of the very large waves that were generated by those strong winds.
We want to get to some other video now too. Our one of the Color 10 employees had a relative on the Branson Bell showboat, which was not involved in this,
Yeah.
but it is the same dock. And this is video that she was able to get right after this happened. And you see people, as we mentioned, 16 unaccounted for. Here's some of the people who were able to make it to safety.
Yeah, and we keep saying 16 unaccounted for, and you're seeing some people being treated right there. We don't know if the people you see there were among those taken to Cox Branson. If some of those people, as Crystal Blair mentioned earlier, she saw people leaving the scene going out to their cars as though they were rescued and they were okay to go about their business and go to their hotel or go home or whatever. So those are questions we're still trying to answer tonight, but we got that video there from the scene there shortly after this happened from the family member of a Color 10 employee who was there tonight. So we're going to keep moving along here and talk more about the fact that this is developing. We're trying to get information. Things kind of spread like wildfire. At one point we've heard all kinds of different stories being spread on social media tonight about what happened down there, but we do know the boat capsized. 8 people are dead, 7 are at Cox Branson, and we're still waiting on word and to find out how long the dive teams are going to be out there in that water as well tonight.
That's right. And of course, this all is believed to have happened from the storms that moved through earlier this evening, and that was widespread across the Ozarks. We had storm damage across the Ozarks as well, and want to show you some video from that.
Yeah.
Scenes like this.
Yeah, this is over at Lone Pine and Seminole, which, as you know, is kind of an area of town with some older homes and a lot of really mature trees over there. So you get those kind of winds coming through, and you're going to see trees toppled over, and you see power lines. Those those may even be cable lines there, but you've got, lines that are down there in that area over there near Lone Pine and Seminole. And also, Heather, you've got more video to share with us.
Yeah, trees littered the Roundtree neighborhood. Heavy winds stronger than about 70 miles per hour from what we're understanding caused this. And again, this is near Walnut and Fremont in the downtown area, just splicing some of these trees.
We also want to show you a picture of a building over near the Bruco downtown. The storms there blew the roof off there, folded it up, if you will. Another building being remodeled into some apartments is what you're seeing here. And this is over in the 500 block of West McDaniel. So, you're probably seeing it on your social media feeds where you are tonight. A lot of people are posting various trees down in their neighborhoods, power lines down. In fact, we've talked a little bit about some of the power outages. We'll have those numbers. Well, here we're going to share it with you right now. That's the CU map. And purple is 1 to 50 customers in an area, yellow is 50 to about 500, orange is 500 up to 1,000. So you see a lot of pockets there with a relatively minor number, low number of people affected, but still some high pockets there too.
And as we bring you this weather coverage tonight, we actually received a lot of calls, and this is the co-op as well that we want to show you the power outages here.
Yeah, and so you see Taney County is going to have a lot of power outages down there. Stone is going to have quite a few. Christian's got quite a few. Not as many co-op members in Greene County affected in terms of power loss right now. But again, that's the members of the electric co-ops that are affected by storm-related power outages tonight.
And all of this caused by strong winds that came through the Ozarks. And we actually heard the tornado sirens going off in several places across the Ozarks, but it wasn't a tornado warning. Can you explain why that happens?
And it may have been a bit confusing. I know I've seen this happen one other time since I've been here at Color 10, and that goes back to 2011. Anytime that we get really strong winds, something a little bit more extreme than the run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm that comes through that generates, maybe a 60-mile-per-hour gust. Anytime we're expecting winds upwards of 75 miles per hour or greater, emergency management officials will go ahead and sound the sirens because there is a concern with winds of that intensity that you could get tornado-like damage, and it would be very dangerous for folks to be outside. We saw the photos of trees down, power lines down. That's just here in Springfield. There are other areas that saw that as well. And it's that concern of the danger of those winds, the excessive nature of those winds, that prompts them to go ahead and sound the sirens because even though those winds weren't caused by tornadoes, those winds still caused a lot of damage that could have posed an extreme amount of danger to lives across the Springfield area.
And of course, we want to let you know that we have a photo gallery as well at ozarksfirst.com. Some of your pictures that you have been sending to us, thank you for that. Keep sending them. We will continue to update our web story as well. You can share your pics with us. Just email them or send them to our Color 10 Facebook page.
And although we didn't get any tornadoes here in the Ozarks, north of us in Iowa, they did. Wow, several videos popping up online showing twisters near a town up there. Incredible video from our CBS affiliate around the Des Moines area showing twisters moving through a neighborhood there, and they're very well-defined tornadoes. You can see there on your screen doing a lot of damage up there that is reminiscent of some very serious storms we've seen here in the Ozarks.
And there were multiple tornadoes as well. This one shows a tornado just ripping through homes, and you can see the debris just flying around in the air. A very scary situation for people living there. And finally, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the storm damage from these storms as well. We have some more video to get through. Houses
obviously just being torn apart there. We're going to show you some video of cars that are, well, maybe not right now, but the cars on top of each other there. Just very serious to our north in Iowa. So obviously a severe weather system that rolled through and affected much of the Midwest. And I didn't mean to make you carry the show. I was checking the Southern Stone County Fire District.
Do we have an update?
Well, I was looking at their Facebook page. They've been posting updates on Table Rock and what's happening there on their Facebook page. Nothing new on Table Rock, but they are working a structure fire. Boy, bless their hearts down there in Southern Stone County. They've got a structure fire right now, and so they're a busy night for Southern Stone County.
And it has been a busy night for news and weather here in the Ozarks as well. So keep it here. We will have more with Jamie Warner and what we can expect throughout the evening hours with the weather. Keep it here. Want to get to some more weather coverage for you right now. Take a look at this time-lapse video of the quick-moving storms that rolled in through the Ozarks this afternoon. This was actually shot on a GoPro by our photojournalist Eric Reedus, and boy, just some nasty-looking clouds.
Yeah, the wind front that came through, Jamie, was pretty intense, and even the winds behind the front. Am I saying that right? Was it a front?
We call it a gust front. I mean, it's a type of front, and what was pretty incredible in that video that we saw was, I mean, that's a shelf cloud, but that was a very, very intense, if I can say it that way, shelf cloud that was moving into the Springfield area. Many locations around Springfield, and especially south and southeast of Springfield, saw that very scene. And of course, as that arc of clouds moves over your area, that's when the winds begin to pick up. Here's a look at a loop of today's active weather, and it started off up near Lake of the Ozarks. We had some severe storms up there, generating a bit of wind damage around Camdenton, probably in the Lake of the Ozarks area as well. Then we had a little bit of a lull, and then new storms began to fire up near Kansas City and drop south. St. Clair County was hit hard next. Areas between Lowry City and Collins, south of Osceola, there was a little stretch in there where there was quite a bit of wind damage, numerous trees down, and I'm going to be curious to see if maybe that wasn't the result of a weak tornado, because that storm at the time, it did exhibit supercell characteristics, and there was rotation evident on radar in the exact same location where that tree damage occurred. Then that storm made its way south into Springfield. The west side of town was much weaker by that point and faded away. And then we had this line of severe storms barreling southeast across the area, generating the wind damage. That line of severe storms is called a progressive derecho. It is a short squall line that generates a widespread area of intense winds and wind damage. And here are some of the reported winds here in Springfield, out at the airport. As that line made its way toward the Springfield area, we had a peak gust of 74 miles per hour measured at the National Weather Service office. By the time that line got to the downtown airport here close to color 10, winds had subsided somewhat with that part of the line. We had a gust up to 46 miles per hour. Battlefield, a gust over 50 miles per hour. Mount Vernon, about 60 miles per hour. Branson West, 52 miles per hour. And at the Branson Airport, close to where that capsizing incident occurred, we had a wind gust of 63 miles per hour measured. Now, here's a peek at radar right now. Things have quieted down. The severe weather threat, I think, is over with for tonight, but the threat, or chance, I should say, because we need the rainfall for showers and thunderstorms, will continue. It'll be sort of widely scattered, but it will continue overnight tonight, probably till almost sunrise tomorrow. Here's the last of the severe storms now moving out of the area. Here locally, this is a peek at that line of severe storms as it made its way into the Springfield area. This was between 6 and 6:30 that line approached from the northwest. And this is what I was watching before that line made its way into Greene County. You see that surge, that bulge in the line right there. That was indicative of very strong winds developing and pushing out away from that line of storms. And that's what made its way into the Springfield area. And this is what it looked like on radar in terms of the wind energy. And you can see that line of very strong winds moving across the area from northwest to southeast. Radar at the time was estimating winds of maybe 70 to 80 miles per hour. Now, that was a little above the surface, but a lot of that wind energy did make its way all the way down to the surface, doing the wind damage that we saw here in the Springfield area. And you can see along that corridor where that squall line moved from northwest to southeast, numerous reports of strong winds and wind damage. Now, as I mentioned, it looks like overnight tonight we'll run that risk for additional scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. You can see them bubbling up here. And the reason why is because a boundary has been left behind, and as air tries to move up and over that shallow layer of air near the surface, it's going to continue to generate that possibility for showers and thunderstorms. And our severe weather threat does not end with this evening storms. There will be a threat for severe storms tomorrow afternoon across southern Missouri and in northern Arkansas. Probably not as widespread as this evening, but we'll have to keep tabs on it. Looks like hail and high winds will be a possibility. And ahead of those storms, some very hot temperatures. Joplin hit 102 degrees this afternoon. That's the first time this year. I think there is a slight chance that here in Springfield, if we get enough sun tomorrow, we could hit 100 here. The chances for that are more likely down towards Branson and south into Arkansas. And then after that, we should see a quiet pattern setting up for the weekend. Lower humidity, temperatures a lot easier to take. but it's going to be dry, and that's bad news. We need the rain. It looks like it's going to stay dry from this weekend deep into next week.
And what's our Viewers Club number?
That number tonight is 137-982. Our jackpot stands at $700.
All right, Jamie, thanks. We're going to go back down live to Crystal Blair and Bria Douglas in Branson for an update on the Ride the Ducks capsized boat that has turned deadly tonight after this.
Or did you hang up?
Yeah, I did.
She exited up. She got hung up.
Okay, that one's busy.
Is it busy?
Yeah.
All right, try it again.
Okay, I'm on IFB3. It's raining. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Back to our breaking news tonight of the Ride the Ducks boat that has turned deadly on Table Rock Lake. We know that 8 people are dead. Our Crystal Blair is live on the scene for us tonight. Crystal, go ahead and recap what has happened.
Well, Heather, you're right. This is a terrible tragedy here at the Branson Bell in Stone County. We just got an update, or maybe 15 minutes ago, from Sheriff Doug Rader, who tells us that, yes, 8 people who were on that Ride the Ducks boat that capsized on Table Rock Lake are confirmed dead. 7 were injured and taken to Cox Branson Hospital, not sure of their condition yet. We also know that there are children who were on board that boat, but we don't know if any children are among the fatalities. There was also a sheriff's deputy on board the boat, and we understand that that is a procedure that happens sometimes for security, and he was there to help in the rescue. So fortunately, there were some people who made it out alive. We don't know how many people are still unaccounted for, though, but we were told just a few moments ago by Sheriff Rader that the Western Taney County dive team, they're out there right now. The boat is still in the water, and right now we don't know how long they're going to be there, but we're assuming that this effort is going to go on probably into the early morning hours. Now, if you are a person who is missing a loved one, they have set up a post at the Branson City Hall where you can go, and they will be giving information there. Live in Stone County, Crystal Blair, Color 10 News, Ozarks First.
We should mention as well, I've seen some other notices about this being put out. The authorities that are working that scene right now are begging people to not come by, don't drive by, don't gawk. A lot of people are curious. They don't need extra vehicles and people down there in that scene right now. And Crystal, you said we don't know how late that dive team's going to stay out, right?
That is correct. The sheriff says that this could go on until the wee hours of the morning. Of course, the only good thing out of this, if there is anything, is that the weather has calmed down a lot. So this is going to give them the opportunity to be out there as long as they need to so that the family members can get some answers.
And Crystal, you mentioned that 7 people were sent to the hospital as well, and we actually want to go there now to Cox Branson. That's where Color 10's Bria Douglas is for us tonight with an update on the condition of those in the hospital.
Yeah, obviously they're being treated there in the emergency room. Bria, I know you talked to Caitlin McConnell, who's the spokeswoman for Cox here in Springfield and obviously the Cox system, giving you an update. What do you know at this point?
David, we know that 7 patients are being treated here at the hospital, with 2 in critical condition. The rest have minor injuries. We don't know the identities of these victims, or if they're all related, or when they will be released from the hospital. We also don't know the nature of the injuries. But what I can tell you is that it's been a very busy night for staff here at the hospital, but I've been told that they trained for these mass casualty situations, so they were prepared for tonight's event. So everyone is just very hopeful that the patients here will be okay. It's a bit emotional day, as you can imagine.
We can also report earlier that we had spoken with another Cox spokeswoman who used to be a Color 10 employee who now works down in Branson, who had mentioned that they, and we're not going to give numbers because I think we're getting conflicting information, but she did mention they do have some patients there, and I think Caitlin told you the same thing, who are indeed under the age of 18, right?
Yes, initially I was told at least 3 patients were under the age of 18. They don't know if that number has changed or not, but that's word that we got originally, that there were 3 patients under the age of 18, and we don't know the condition of their injuries.
All right, Bria Douglas on the story for us at Cox Branson in Branson right now. Thank you so much for the update.
Yeah, we're going to have some sports news coming up for you, so stay right there.
Now sports with Matt Barine.
Before the St. Louis Cardinals kicked off the second half of the season in Chicago, interim manager Mike Schilt named former Springfield manager Ron Warner as his new bench coach. So the Springfield Heavy Cardinals look to turn things around starting tonight in Chicago. Started well for St. Louis. Top second already 1-0. Make it 2. Tommy Pham. Solo shot to left. His 14th long ball of the year doubles the Cardinal advantage. Momentum shifted after that. Bottom fifth, 4-3 Chicago. Ian Happ with a 2-run shot. His 11th of the season puts the Cubs up 6-3. Next inning, Matt Carpenter going to pull one back for St. Louis. 20th home run of the year, third straight game with a home run, but not enough as Chicago gets the win in this one. Springfield also in action tonight. Cards took a 4-game winning streak down to Arkansas. Doesn't look like that's going to get to 5, though. They dropped the series opener to the Travelers 10-4. Game 2 of the series set for tomorrow night at 7:10. Kansas City Chiefs are just 2.5 weeks away from starting minicamp in St. Joseph. That means the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, is gearing up for the season as well. Holthus was in Springfield earlier today talking to fans at the Fork and Spoon restaurant. Of his 22 years as the Chiefs play-by-play announcer, he says this year's Chiefs offense has him more excited than any before.
It's the best group of offensive players that I've seen in my brief 25 years of being the voice of the Chiefs. When you add a Sammy Watkins to go with a Tyreek Hill, who's the fastest player in the league, to arguably the most explosive tight end in Travis Kelce, to the NFL's rushing champion returning in Kareem Hunt.
World Team Tennis, Springfield Lasers stuck inside tonight against the New York Empire. 18-year-old Miomir Kekmanovic using a nice drop shot here, then sends a cross-court winner into the corner. He takes his single set 5-4. Women's doubles, Vanya King serving it up. Abigail Spears right there for the volley. They drop the set 5-4. And in men's doubles, Lasers in the far court, Daniel Nestor going to come through with a beautiful lob shot into the back corner. Lasers winning a super tiebreaker, 23-22. So a 2-0 home start for the Lasers.
Okay, Matt, thanks.
And we will be right back with brand new video from the Ride the Ducks incident that happened on Table Rock Lake after this.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers.
our breaking news coverage tonight, where at least 8 people have died, 7 taken to the hospital in a Ride the Ducks boat that had capsized on Table Rock Lake earlier this evening.
What you're seeing here is new video that has been shared on Facebook by many people tonight. It has been viewed by many people tonight on social media. This is purported to be the Ride the Ducks boat. As you can see, it's on Table Rock Lake tonight. It was taking on water. It was having a tough time in the high waves and the rough winds that came through with the storm at about 7 o'clock tonight. Again, that purported to be the boat that was involved in the capsizing event there that has led to at least 8 fatalities. It has sent 7 people to the hospital. There are 16 who we can say are unaccounted for because we haven't been given official word at this point as to where those folks are, what their condition is. We know Crystal Blair on the scene said she saw some people who were involved in this capsizing of the boat who did receive treatment on the scene and walked away. Those people would be in that number of 16 that I keep going back to. But we do know that Western Taney County dive teams, at last report from the sheriff, were in the water still searching for potential victims of this tragedy.
And we also heard from our Bria Douglas, who is at Cox Branson at the hospital there, reporting that 7 people were taken to the hospital. We know 2 of them are in critical condition. At least 3 of the injured are under the age of 18 as well. This is a story that is still developing and one that we will continue to be following.
Yeah, a lot still to unfold on this story. We would urge you to use caution as you go through your social media feeds tonight and rely on facts to get the story and not conjecture in this story, because obviously there's a loss of life tonight, as the Southern Stone County Fire Protection District is in fact calling this a mass casualty incident there on Table Rock Lake tonight. We're going to have much more for you coming up tomorrow as what we know to be the facts in this case, coming up at 5 a.m. on Color 10 News Daybreak.
And we will be joining Stephen Colbert in progress right now. Thanks for watching.